Yes guys, in this episode we're of course going to rebuild the Honda after it catastrophically broke down due to a broken connecting rod. Of course, this isn't because of Sneaky Tuning's tune, but because of a wastegate that's too small which we installed on our setup. Of course, something will be done about this in the future, but before we can even think about that, we first have to rebuild our engine, because our engine is in 1,000 pieces. We're also building an engine we've never built before with original parts. Sneaky Tuning says it has great potential, which the dyno confirmed. I stopped by AKR Performance. Big shout out to you guys because you have some things on the shelf that the dealer doesn't, like Honda Bond or a simple head gasket, so huge shout out to you. I also got a new cylinder head bolt and intake gasket from the dealer. That's enough talk. Let's replace the bent connecting rod. Then we'll reassemble it. I've never done that before, so this should be interesting. Let's go. Well, you just saw in the footage that I replaced the connecting rod and mounted it back onto our old piston. On the other hand, Andy did give us some old connecting rods he had lying around. And on the other hand, he does advise us to replace all our connecting rods. Even though we don't know if they're bent, we really just have to do it. And as you can see, there are also numbers on them, and those should correspond with the numbers in the engine block. I hope we have the right numbers in stock so that we can at least replace the connecting rods, and hopefully we won't run into any problems in the future. Cars back up. What are the numbers you saw, Dantya? 3, 3.
2, 2, okay.
So we have here...
This is a 3, that's a 3, and that's a 2, and that's a 2.
Okay, now we need to see what we've gotten from Andy.
3, 3, 1, 2, no! Yeah, this just works. This set is absolutely perfect.
So this is just meant to be. Andy, you just gave us the magic box. I'm telling you honestly, if it hadn't been right, we likely would have closed up the engine with just one new connecting rod. Now we're replacing them all. That one must be straight. I'm just wondering if everything will work once we've reassembled it. Are you curious about how exactly we did all this and what method we used? Check out our vlog channel where we'll show in more detail how we assembled this. Music. As you just saw in the footage, we've installed all the bearing shells. We've also reinstalled all the connecting rod caps for now. The crankshaft is now connected to the connecting rod. Don't get me wrong, everything still needs to be torqued to spec. And we found the manual here. And on here you can actually find all the torque specs. First 29 Nm and then 56 degrees. But before we can do that, of course, we first have to clean everything, remove all the old gasket residue. Meanwhile, dog grease. And then we'll get to work with our original Honda Bond. We ordered that specifically for this. This will actually last for decades. And I have the feeling that regular liquid gasket is a bit less strong than this. Because that's pretty universal, but this is specifically for Honda. Daniel is cleaning the lower engine block. He doesn't have any time to lose, neither do I, because we just need to get this thing put together and started as soon as possible. That's what it's all about. About an hour later, we've removed all the gasket residue from all the parts that need to have liquid gasket applied again. Is that even a verb? Need to be resealed with liquid gasket again? Anyway, those are the parts that really need to be super clean. We not only have the top part, but also the bottom part. And Daniel also cleaned the entire engine. So all those edges are clean again, the cylinder head is clean. Yeah, we did have a bit of oil leakage and there's sand stuck all around it. Yeah, of course you don't want to put it back together like that. You don't want that in the crankshaft bearings or anywhere else because that's just engine damage. So next step, clean everything, degrease it, apply the liquid gasket, put the crankcase on, and torque it to spec. and then we can move on to something else. Let's... Well, as you just saw in the footage, we set it to 29 Newton meters. And now it's important that you turn it another 56 degrees. 59 degrees, I need to double check that. But for that, we have a really nice tool here. You set it to 0 once you have it on the bolt. And then you actually turn it the correct 56 degrees further. And then you basically turn it to a certain point, 56 degrees. And then don't touch it anymore. Leave it alone. Then it's perfect. Music. Well guys, I actually really like it. Secretly, building engines. Yeah, a lot. So you have to scroll back one page. They really explain everything here, you know. Yeah, so this is the crankshaft main bearing. Then we go back to connecting rod bearing. I also see trouble codes and stuff, DTCs. You can fix it all, man. These are the measurements that should be there. 36 Newton, connecting rod bolts, and 120 degrees. Well done, 120 degrees. That's a lot because how many newtons did you just have? 29? And 56 degrees. So this is going to be a bit tougher. It's really going to be a notch harder. So, a little pre-workout. No, let's go. We're going to tighten it up. So actually, in fact, we're going to tighten these two. And then the bottom is done. The oil pan can go on, and then we can assemble the top. I'm excited. Let's go. Music.
Daantje die had net al natuurlijk de cilinderkop klaargemaakt voor montage. Dus het enige wat we nog moeten doen is ontvetten. Want de vloeibare pakking die er allemaal op zit is eraf. En nu doet hij nog heel even laatste keer de plek waar de koppakking komt met een scotchbreitje. Zodat eigenlijk al die oude afdrukken weggaan. Het gaat nog best wel soepel, toch? Als je de handleiding hebt. Want volgens de hand...
Music. So those new head bolts need to be tightened to 39 Newton meters and then turned 90 degrees in 2 steps. So that's a total of 180 degrees. If you're using a new bolt like we are, then you get a third step and another extra 90 degrees. It's going to be a challenge because it takes quite a bit of power to keep turning those 90 degrees each time. Music. Really great news. The cylinder head is secured. When we started tightening the first time, the second bolt immediately started to creak. That means we had to loosen it, put a bit of oil on it again, and then tighten it. The creaking stopped, and then you know you've tightened it to spec. Luckily, the rest went smoothly. It's really weird that the second bolt suddenly acts up, and now the camshaft cap goes in. Once that's in, the camshafts can go in. So, there's no turning back now, right? Now that the camshafts are installed, we can tighten everything down, and I'll also spray a bit more extra oil on the guides and on the camshaft lobes so it doesn't start up dry. After we installed this, we could move on with the timing chain. We put it in place, and then the cover could go on, but not before applying the liquid gasket. After installing this, of course, the oil pan could go on as well, and after this we can fill the engine with oil. But first, let's let it cure nicely for 20 hours. It's a new day here, and you could see that we've come quite far, because we've reinstalled the timing chain and assembled everything. We've put the oil pan back on and reinstalled the timing cover. First, we need to finish assembling the engine before we can start. Let's do that now. 2 days of hard work, I mean assembling the engine, because taking it apart also took a day, putting it back together took 2 days. However, we're still waiting for oil, and that's keeping us from starting it for the first time. Are you curious about behind-the-scenes footage of how we built this engine? Check out our second channel, link in the description. And there you can see in more detail how we built this engine, because things also went wrong, and you can see all of that in that episode. On our main channel, you only see the best shots. So, did you enjoy this episode? Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and then we'll see you in the next episode, where hopefully we'll start up this beast. I'll see you there. Ciao.
Hey, all work, no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Hey, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for wherever, I'll be front and center. Don't fly too close to the sun, your body chopped up by propellers. Came in arrogant, but left out in a stretcher. Fuck the comparison.